Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spiritual Readiness on the Time of the Shift. Today, I want to revisit the Buddhist principle called the three poisons that I had spoken about in a few videos earlier, and how that connects to the Aquarian age, which is the age in which men and women are supposed to ascend and become god and goddesses. And the implication there is that there will be an equal distribution of energy, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Meaning that instead of having one avatar per age, you end up having an entire planet of ascended beings. All of this sounds really wonderful. But let me remind you of the principle of the tree poison and how that connects in a very interesting way and intersect with this concept of the Aquarian age. The first poison, according to the Buddhist tradition, is greed. It's a combination of greed, lust, and addiction. The term in Buddhism is tanha, and it is a thirst, a desire that nothing can satisfy. It is as if you are sitting and you're eating, and the more you eat, and the more hungry you get. Now, the question that one needs to ask oneself, as we're living through this Aquarian age, what is my addiction? Is it sugar? Is it food? Am I doping myself? Am I smoking too much pot? What is that? Or am I emotionally addicted to something? Am I addicted to the number of likes that I receive on mass media? When I post something, am I always searching for validity, approval, and love through the number of likes that I actually receive and the comments that is derived from people responding to my posts? And I'm going to get back into this because it's of importance. Because one of the things that's happening with generally the youth of this age, and I'm talking about 30 and under, and it's not everyone for sure, but it's a large number enough to make us understand that there is an issue. And that is that many are highly narcissistic. We're living in a culture of Instagram fame, mass media fame. That makes you overnight become somebody very important and where you can become an influencer. Everybody's trying to become an influencer and have millions of views. And that influenced, you can become an influencer. And mass media, there's many figures who are so-called famous in mass media that provide no value. There is a lot of sexuality and exposure of the body that's involved in this posting, but there is no real value being provided. Or there are claims of value that are not being fulfilled. Okay, whether it is that the person is claiming that I'm a coach for this or a coach for that, spiritual teacher for this, and I can do healing for that or the other, and they make a lot of claims, but when you take their programs and you follow with their claim, none of that actually is given. Or, look, every time somebody tells you 5 steps to complete happiness, or 12 steps to starting your own business, or 7 steps to, trust me, and when you take classes in marketing, which is about selling and closing clients, this is the way you're taught how to present yourself to your client. And since in the ethos of that age, everyone is looking for a bypass, what is called a hack, everyone is trying to find a way around. And if you term it, I'm going to give you the essential 4 steps for this, that, or the other, you will book a whole lot of people. But trust me, there are no 12 steps to happiness. There is an infinite number of steps. And when people are claiming this, they are doing a disservice. And there's karma to be earned for this. You're gonna accumulate negative karma against you. I know a lot of coaches, because I was part of forums with them, who have claimed these things, who eventually end up having to quit their business after 4 or 5 years because they could no longer lie to themselves, because they know they were not providing it. Whatever claim a client paid thousands of dollars for the services, in the end, the service was not provided because they would revert back. Temporarily, there was a minor change. There was an upswing, but the client could not maintain it by themselves. The first poison, again, is this lust and this bottomless pit and desire that nothing could satisfy. So find within yourself where you're standing in that spectrum. Okay? The second poison is hatred. Now, by the way, before I move to the second poison, it's not strange that at this point in our culture that we have a president that has not a narcissistic disorder. He is a symbolic representation of what's happening in the collective unconscious of this country, because the entire country as a collective has this narcissism running through it. Second poison is hatred. And that hatred fits in I mean, we can talk about bluntly what it is. The hatred right now in this country for a certain segment of the population toward, the Mexican, the Muslim, the other than white, okay, the xenophobia that's very prevalent. But here is an underlying current as well, which is self-hatred, self-loathing, dislike of self, shame of self, undeservedness. And all of that combines together as a shadow of the narcissism, okay? Because it's like a seesaw relationship. Yes, the Aquarian age is about a democratic sharing of ascension and enlightenment. But the dark side of it, the opposite of Aquarius, is Leo. And the negative side of Leo is narcissism. So that's where the two of them are balancing each other. Now, moreover, that I recently had somebody in my circle of influence in the light community that committed suicide. It was a shock to all of us. And highly sensitive, highly intuitive, he killed himself. And that was a real shock to me and a kind of a wake-up call for me to make this video and to address what needs to be addressed. That there comes a point where you cannot lie to yourself anymore, particularly when you are portraying yourself or claiming yourself to be something that you're not. There comes a point where an inner reckoning is you're going to have to deal with your own self. And that in itself, I mean, I have a chapter in my book, The Primer for Ascension, at chapter 4, Inner Child Program, Unconditional Self-Love, and the Inner Child Program. The first poison, which has to do with the addiction, I have a whole chapter, chapter 9, removing addiction and bad habits. So I have tools that I can give someone, and I will leave the link for that below, but I have tools that I can give someone to actually help them overcome these issues. But you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be teachable. Now, the last poison is delusion. Now, this one is really deep. And I'm going to go as deep as possible because I had a recent experience that I want to share with you. Somebody that has been in my circle of influence and studied with me, not steadily for about 6 months, traveled outside of the state and came back to tell me, I have a conversation this week, to tell me I am ascended. I am ascended in all dimension of time and space and fully grounded in the center, in the core of Gaia. Now, if you tell me this, what do I have to say to you? The hubris and the arrogance of the statement is beyond anything I can explain. It's laughable. It's absolutely deeply delusional. And the experience, I'm not disclaiming that he went to an experience, but the experience that he went to is not ascension. It's something else. And I can say with authority, having going through the process of ascension twice, detail for which is in chapter 1 in my book, A Primer for Ascension. What he's describing ascension, because I asked him, what do you mean when you said you ascended? And he described this experience to me. And all I had to respond to is that, congratulations. Wish you the best of luck. This is wonderful for you. When you're telling me this, you're telling me that you're God and you're not teachable. You're not open to me saying anything to you. The delusion is so profound, it's beyond anything that I've experienced in recent time. And all I have to say is that for somebody like this, I can't share anything with you anymore. I have nothing in common with you anymore. Good luck on your journey. Happy landing. It's at the very end of the conversation, he even mentioned, he said something to the effect that, don't worry, my friend, you're next. Again, the total hubris and the arrogance. First of all, if you're really ascended, you don't have to tell anybody. It's like me walking into a room and telling everybody I'm a man. The people who are really ascended are highly humbled. The word, I am an ascended master or I have ascended, will never come out of their mouth. I reminded of a funny story I have to share with you. So many moons ago when I was clubbing in New York City, I was at waiting in front of a red rope in front of a club, waiting to get in, and we were being delayed because there was a long crowd ahead of us. There was a drag queen standing next to me, and she turned around and started screaming at the door person, "Do you know who I think I am?" I burst out laughing. She's delusional. She's creating a fake story, but at least she knows she's delusional. I couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing and crying because it was so funny. But when you are believing in your own story and actually convinced that's who you are, good luck with that. Again, all I'm saying, I don't have all the answers, but I know for sure that this narcissistic desire for instant fame and hack and bypass, thinking in 6 months or 3 months you can actually move through things and jump and then you're ahead of everybody else, it's a complete lie. And mark my word, what comes at the end of this is and actually reckoning with your own self, with the truth, which is that you're fake, you're not real, that you're lying to yourself. Ascension is a gradual and evolutionary process. It's incremental. It's like a dimmer switch that goes on very slowly. And it takes years of work and practice to get yourself from where you are into full ascension. And if you understood anything, and I've written about this before, ascension is only the beginning of the journey. To claim that you're ascended in all dimensions of time and space is the most ludicrous, insane, delusional statement that I've ever heard. And I know that this young man is not alone. There are lots of people in the light community that believe the same thing because they went to a psychic or energetic experience. They think that's ascension. And even if it were, ascension is in stages. It's in level. There are traps or tests, let's put it this way, that are created by the increase in energy that happens. And if you get caught in the trap, you become darkly ascended. You get infected. There are so many nuances that are involved in there that no hack can give you, but practical, continual experience that come with a daily spiritual practice. What am I saying? Do the work. Stop running after a hack and trying to bypass. Look, I have done, I have journeyed people and forward them in time 100 years and taking them into the future earth. And I can tell you, every time I do these kind of workshops, the experiencers who are in the room are always shocked to find out that there are no 7 or 8 billion people on the planet. There barely exist. It's under 1 billion. And there's a reason for this. All of these individuals who are believing that they are ascended and they are going through this and they're going to bypass everything by doing all of that, they are going to go to a parallel reality that will take them away from the true ascended future that the planet is moving into. Decide where you want to go. My love for you, and by the way, I love this young man like my own son. I really do. I just wish him the best of luck. I can't deal with this. I'm not a selfish person. I share, I open, I want to give you, I want the more of you. Look, if the ascension was true, I would be the first person to yell and scream, because the more of us ascend, God wins, the planet wins. But when you know through and through, it's delusion. And even if I was God or source itself, I couldn't convince him of anything. I don't need to say anything anymore after this kind of statement. I just need to walk away and realize this person, I have nothing in common. I don't want to share anything. I just have to we may have still a social relationship, but I will not share anything deeply spiritual. If you really want to do real work, apply yourself. Stop trying to find quick ways around things, and because when the galactic equator crossing happens and realities begin to split, my love for you cannot bring you into where I am going. It's by merit. And if you didn't do the work, you're not going to go there. Anyway, enough serious talk for today. I hope this video was educational for you. Give it a like and a thumbs up. And if the content that that I gave to you today is congruent with you, please share the video, and I will speak to you next week. Thank you.